All right, we're live.
Awesome. All right, people, we are live here on LinkedIn. And for those of you that know me, and for those of you that don't, I'm Becca Powers-Vaughn. I'm a USA Today bestselling author and leadership expert. And I have been talking on my platform for years about work-life balance. Does it even exist? Burnout, overdrive, all the things that go into being a high performing woman, a high performing professional. And I was recently at an event of a whole bunch of us, influencer type of people who are out there building brands and trying to help people. And I met Dr. Cody Golman, and I was like, I would love to interview you. So here we are, Dr. Cody Golman. Welcome to this interview.
Yay! Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And one of the reasons I reached out to him because I was like, this is so cool because when we talk about women's health and women over 40, and especially with my audience, y'all know who you are, but we have been high performing for a long time. And with that comes like a bypassing of how we really feel. We might feel fatigued. We might feel foggy. We might feel like we don't have the same stamina as we used to. And we can blame it on many different things like our work conditions or getting older. But when I saw Dr. Cody speak, I was like, that is BS because there's a role that our hormones play in all of this. And so I wanted to bring him to you. So I want to open up the first question and just ask with that type of introduction, where do you see the role of hormones in high performing high performing women over 40?
Well, yeah, thanks for the introduction. First of all, it's been really unique. I'm going to say this because I get to be a man helping women with their body and coaching women in their health and hormones. And I love that I get to do this because right now, our healthcare system is male driven. It's always been that way. And men do not understand women in relationship, in health,
That's
across the
fair.
board. And so now, maybe not all of us, but I literally didn't have. It wasn't like I was seeking to do this. I started watching my patients for 17 years in my chiropractic office. I started watching my patients do Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers and paleo and keto, and then doing injections and seeing their hormones get worse. So the role of hormones. This is very important. Let's just understand. First of all, to back up, symptoms, the role of symptoms. What are the role of symptoms in the health medical system? The role of symptoms are, oh my God, we got to go find out what's wrong with the symptom. What it is, and how do we patch up the symptom? So let's say headaches, neck pain, back pain, extreme menstrual cramps. These are all symptoms, and our healthcare system does what it can to suppress symptoms. Symptoms are a message. That's it.
I agree.
They're a message. So for whether or not you mentioned about high performing women, for the human being, a symptom is a message. That is one of the biggest diversions from truth, that our healthcare system has deluded women into thinking that the symptoms must be controlled. Nope, they're messages. What's the role of hormones? The hormones are messengers.
I
That's
see.
what hormones are. They're not the cause of a problem. So it'd be like if we had I don't know, some really terrible mail delivered and it made us all sad, and we went and punished the mailman. That's what our healthcare system is doing with hormones. So we go, oh, your mailman, that's the problem. He ran too fast or too slow to your mailbox. So then you go, oh, testosterone is too high or too low. And you go, that's the problem. No, that was the messenger. The messenger's bringing the message. And so don't kill the messenger. And that's what's happening with a lot of our hormone replacement stuff, is we're killing the messenger. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I love that so much that you're saying the symptoms are just the messenger because what I see too is when I'm working with my clients or I'm going into an organization and working with people, I'm entering the same thing. There's symptoms, whether their team's not performing or different stuff like that. And it's like when you start peeling it back, it's like, no, we need to go to the root cause. And so many people. And so in my work, I always like go straight to the nervous system, because I'm like, hey, if we can regulate a nervous system, then we can regulate your business. But hormones are very similar. If we can't regulate our hormones, we're going to be out of whack, and our operating system isn't going to work well. And so what do you see? What would you say is one of the biggest misconceptions you see in people who think they know about hormones, but they really don't?
Well, I think that's one of the first things is that, and I like to make things very simple. One of the things about our healthcare system, one of the geniuses of it is they've made it very complex, and it's genius for them, because anything that's complex, anything that the mind doesn't understand, your mind will either fear or worship. Okay.
Good.
So that's important. So if you make something complex, you'll fear it and be afraid of it, or you'll worship it and make it a god. And so what's interesting is when you look at just your body in general and this whole concept of symptoms, here's the misconception. Let's say that we drive a car and the check engine light comes on. Okay, so that'd be a symptom. And we go to the mechanic, and the mechanic is like, ooh, I'm sorry about this. You got a really, really bad case of check engine-itis. and you go, wow, I've never heard of that before. What is that? Well, that's where your check engine light's inflamed. It's pretty bad. And you go, what do I do about it? Oh, we can fix that. We just take a piece of black tape and put it right over it, and you won't see it. And you go, wow, this is a really great mechanic shop. It took care of the problem. So that's the biggest misconception, is that if you suppress your symptoms, you've taken care of the problem. That's the biggest misconception. And the interesting piece about this is it actually makes things worse. If you have a headache and it's because you're in an uninspiring relationship and your body's telling you to get out.
Yes.
If you have a headache, it's because you're not going to bed on time and your body's telling you, I can't keep functioning without rest or sleep. If you have a symptom or a headache or something that, and it's because you're not eating enough and you're actually putting on high demands, but not eating enough, not eating on time, you going to the doctor and getting diagnosed with a migraine or some kind of tension headache and getting a pill is going to make the problem worse, because what happens is you don't look under the hood. So it's like going to that mechanic, and if we had the proper mechanic, you go, oh, the check engine light is just a warning sign for something happening under the hood. Our doctors are not opening up the hood. So when you open up the hood, you actually find the cause. And so the causes very, very rarely are physical symptoms or physical things. The causes are very rarely physical things. It's very rare that you caught some disease, which is what the media wants you to think. Your body is always striving for health. So this automobile, the automobile is leaning towards health, not towards disease. So I'd say if there was another misconception, is that your body is floating around on this planet and it is tending towards disease. That's false. It's leaning towards health. But if people know this, they become very empowered and not at the of buying medications and becoming customers of that system.
Wow. There's so much there. I'm like, what question do I want to ask you next? But so what would you say to someone who was listening or watching this and thinking that they have been disempowered? They're like, wow, I actually have been just, causing, how do I want to say this? Looking at the symptoms and then getting the remedy for the symptom and not actually the cause. What would you recommend they do? I mean, obviously you have solutions, but I think somebody watching this might just have a general aha that like, oh, I didn't even know that I was more empowered to go deeper. I thought I had to take that surface level Band-Aid solution.
Yeah. Well, and I'll just tell you kind of in my world, since I run the Fast 40 weight loss company, this is what I see. I see this every single day. Just this morning, I have a lady, I'll tell you the exact appointment this morning. She came in, she said, I've got 60 pounds of fat on me. I've had it for 5 years. Yeah. I've gone to my doctor. I've gone to doctor's clinics. My doctor gave me the GLP-1 injection, which is the most recent thing. And this is word for word what she told me. I thought it was going to work. And I said, well, what happened? She said, I lost 20 pounds in 4 months, which just FYI is absolutely terrible, terrible weight loss, terrible results. 4 months to see only 20 pounds is terrible. But the problem is it all came back and more over the next 30 days after getting.
I've heard a lot of those bounce backs. Mm-hmm.
And not only you've heard of them, you're going to see all of them do this unless they keep starving themselves. So she said, I thought it was going to work long term. That's the being delusional, right? So the fat is a symptom. Hormone imbalance is a messenger. There's hormones that are out of balance, but taking an injection to patch up the symptom never fixed it. So if you do something to reduce the fat, you never fix the underlying cause. And so just to kind of point in that direction, this is where over the years, we realized unless you actually balance what's going on inside your body. So just to give an example, there's a few hormones that actually regulate whether or not your body burns fat or sugar. They're called leptin and ghrelin. And no one's talking about them. They don't even make it as a regular test when people go to the doctor. But when leptin and ghrelin get out of balance, your body does not use fat anymore. And it's important people understand you can't diet your way out of that. You can't exercise your way out of that. So your brain doesn't use fat. And what happens is fat has 9 calories per gram. So a protein or carbohydrate has 4. So just really think about this. Fat has more than double the fuel source. If I burn fat and you burn sugar, I have more than double the energy you have. And even if we eat the same thing, that's what's really interesting. Yeah, it's very, and my brain, you have a higher IQ when you burn fat. You are more emotionally stable when you burn fat. When you burn sugar, here's how you know you burn sugar. You have energy crashes throughout the day. You need coffee to wake up.
Yes, these are complaints that I hear all the time from the people.
Right. Yes. I've been down this with so many women I know. And 3 or 4 o'clock, you have an energy crash, right? You're burning sugar. Your menstrual cycle is more severe than it should be. Now, most women don't even know what I'm even talking about because they've never experienced a normal menstrual cycle. Seriously, most women have gone being a sugar burner, thinking that their menstrual cycle is just like it's horrific, and that's what it is with sugar. So headaches, joint pains, arthritic conditions, gut imbalances. I mean, the freaking list goes on and on. PCOS. I've seen it. Now, the other piece is that when you burn sugar is known to help cancer grow.
I've heard
that. This lady that I was on the phone with, she just lost both of her sisters to cancer. Oof. And so and she's got 60 pounds on her. She's done Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, paleo, keto. And she got frustrated because she went to her doctor and the doctor said, hey, why don't we put you on a weight loss drug, right? And of course, that's when they did it.
One of the GLPs or something like that. Yeah.
Yep. And she lost 20 pounds in 4 months and then gained it all back. And then what happens is your hormones are really screwed up because all that the GLP-1 injections are doing is making you starve yourself. That's it. That's all it's doing. It cuts off blood supply to your intestine to trick you into thinking that you aren't hungry. That is what it's doing. So then
you end up with like malnutrition or something like that. What does that do to your hormones? Oh my God. Rabbit holes, Dr. Cody.
It is. Very, very exactly. And so by the time I work with people, the women I work with are down, 20 pounds in 40 days. But more importantly, they're eating more than double, sometimes triple what they're eating when they're 20 pounds heavier. And it's because no one has ever guided them on how much they should actually eat. So they didn't know they should eat on time or should eat enough. So my point being is that our healthcare system sort of leaked its way into weight loss. And we're treating weight loss the same way we treat our healthcare. That fat is a symptom and it should be treated instead of fixing the underlying cause.
Wow. My mind is blown on so many things because I mean, just the laundry list of ailments that you've said. I mean, I hear when I'm working with people one-on-one, even though maybe I'm working more on leadership and mindset and things like that, but these are like some of the underlying things that are going on. And, I'm able to like look at them and say, hey, you're out of alignment. There's, you need Very similarly, I call it disharmony of the body, right? There's something going on that's out of alignment for you, and we need to start discovering a root cause. I can only take it so far because I'm not specialized like you, but I do feel that even the gut imbalances and things like that, I feel that it's underrated how everything is so interconnected. And
Yeah.
and to your point, whether it's mainstream medical, but also mainstream social media, really try to point out that the problem's like the person and not the actual under cause. So I feel very empowered by everything that you're sharing, because even for myself, I'm like, oh, I never thought of fat being something that can stimulate my brain. Like, I don't know if you mind talking about that, but I work with a lot of high performance people, women and men, but I have never heard anybody say fat is a brain stimulant. Like, that was like for me.
Yep, brain and body. It is the best. It is God's best fuel source for humans is fat, and you need very little of it. You need very little of it because it is so potent. And so just like tiny bits each day, and you've got tons of fuel. But the bigger issue is it doesn't matter much you diet. If your hormones are seeking sugar and not seeking fat, you can't pull your way out of that. That's what's interesting.
So
And
how do you transfer? I didn't mean to interrupt, but my brain's going. I'm like,
fine.
so how do you do the transfer? I mean, is it all through diet, through supplements? Is it a combination? Like, when you're working with someone and say like, hey, I'm probably more of a sugar person right now. Like, where do we start? If we want to make that transition into fat burning?
Yeah, it'd be good for everyone to understand how they got to sugar burning first before understanding how to get back, because every human being is born as a fat burner.
Whoa. See, I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher too. And we teach a lot about breathing, but everybody breathes. When you're born, you breathe with your inhale actually expanding you, and then it contracts in. But as an adult, most people breathe the opposite way. So it kind of reminds me of when I first was learning breath techniques and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm breathing wrong. I didn't even know I was breathing wrong. It's natural, but
Great point.
it's not. Yeah. So anyway.
It's a very great point, because that's like, you look at what God intended you to do. And so I love that. And so every baby is born as a fat burner, truly. And that's because that's what God intended you to do, was burn fat. And there's even biblical references of sacrificing the fat of lambs. That's what they were talking about. So what's interesting, when you're a fat burner, again, you'll notice your immune system strong, great sleep, great energy. What I've seen people's hormones. So how does someone go from fat burning to sugar burning? I've seen two ways.
Okay.
Two main ways. One is unmanaged stress, and two is sugar and carbohydrates. So these are the two main ways that you switch. Now, both of those things describe American living.
I was going to say, I know the unmanaged stress spikes to cortisol, and I know it's bad, but that's about as much as I know.
Yeah, almost no one. I teach our patients. I teach our patients how to feel an emotion, and I'll tell you that I think about 99% of the people that join my program have never truly felt through an emotion.
Wow.
And this is not what people think it is. It's not sitting and crying. It's not punching out a punching bag. It's not talking to your therapist. It's none of that shit. None of that shit really lets your emotions move through you. So what most people do is repress an emotion or express an emotion. And both of these paths have temporary relief, repression, expression. But there's a third option that we teach our patients, is to allow an emotion.
Wow.
And so there's a book called The Untethered Soul. If someone wants to kind of go down that path, but I've made that path much simpler, and it's what we teach our clients. So what happens is increased stress. Your primitive brain, the amygdala and hippocampus, we all have an animal brain and an evolved human brain. And the animal is still inside you. And it's important to understand that you have, 25,000 plus years of history, that when you are stressed, your body does something. When you are stressed, your body, there's a reason it increases cortisol. You need increased cortisol. This isn't a bad thing. it's in short bursts. But the
Okay.
problem is you store the stressors. It's not cortisol is the problem, because remember, cortisol is the messenger. It's you
Hey.
continuing to trigger the stress. So because you have never learned, not you, but people have never learned to let energy pass through them, they continue to trigger that stress. So the primitive brain thinks I'm basically being chased by a tiger all day
Yeah,
long.
I'm stuck in fight or flight. I'm out of here. Like, spike that cortisol. Let's go.
And over a long period of time, without eating any sugar, eventually I've seen this switch over to sugar burning, because you're just in such a stressful state. When you are in a stressed fight or flight state, your body will seek the fastest source of energy. The fastest, most quick source of energy is sugar. It's not the best source, it's the fastest source of energy. And so that's why so many women, when they go through a menstrual cycle and they're under eating, they say they crave sugar. It's because you're under eating and you need more fuel during your menstrual cycle, but you've never been told to eat more, because the male doctors don't have menstrual cycles. We didn't know to tell you that. And so
it makes sense, but
yeah, exactly. So increased stress and then sugar consumption is the second thing. Now, both those usually come together, I found. But when people are stressed, they tend to drink more alcohol. When you think alcohol, it's equal sugar. It doesn't matter how clean it is. People go, oh, I drink clean alcohol. It is sugar. It's
You're
sugar.
like, I don't care whether it's clean or not. It is still sugar. Okay.
It's all sugar. Yeah, it's sugar, because your body breaks it down to sugar. And so then if you look at how we've lived our lives, if you go to Europe, you can eat bread and turkey right now. She's gluten-free. She can't eat bread and pasta here, but over there she can. You can eat bread and pasta over there because it's clean. We've added sugar to everything. We add sugar to our kids' yogurts, to our adults' yogurts, sugar to beef jerky, sugar to our chips. You could just look at your labels. They even changed the name of sugar to make it look like something else. Sugar alcohol. Oh my God, it's better. It evaporates in your
still sugar.
Yeah, sugar alcohol. So exactly. So I say this, that those two things, increase stress and sugar, are what flip your hormones, leptin and ghrelin. It flips the switch. You're born as a fat burner. It starts going, let's use sugar. And then it forgets using fat.
Wow, that's incredible. And let's go back to this fat journey though. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, I want to explore flipping my system back to natural and I want to go back to fat, like where does someone even start? I heard you mention like paleo and keto. And it doesn't sound like you're a fan of like potentially diet like names, but like what do you do? Where do you go? Like what happens?
Yeah. Well, let me answer. Yeah, this is good. So you mentioned about, hey, you may not be a fan of the diets. You can't diet your way to when your hormones are imbalanced. That's why. It's not so much that any of them are bad. It's just it doesn't do anything. It does nothing.
Your hormones are already out of sync, so you're not in a state of optimization, right?
Exactly. And so let me drop. Yeah, this is big. So this is why I'm also not a fan of it. Is you're already in a hormone imbalance. Okay, so whether it be across the board, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, paleo, keto, fasting, across the board, they're all based on one thing: a calorie deficit. The whole thing's based on calorie deficit. Every single one of those, they all work. Every single one of those work by calorie deficit. Okay, and it's important to understand that you have a 25,000-year-old mechanism in your brain called the anti-starvation mechanism, and that's the part of your brain that when you were a cave, we were cave people. We weren't getting regular food, so we might, I don't know, maybe we killed a deer or foraged or whatever, and we got food, and then we wouldn't have food for a while. When you don't have food for a while, it tells your body you are in famine. When you're in famine, your brain says, let me store fat because I love you, because I want to make sure you have enough fuel for the next starvation mode you go through. So when people diet, they're triggering the anti-starvation mechanism that says to lay down fat. So it doesn't matter 1 month, 3 months, 2 months, GLP-1 injections, do keto, fasting is the same thing.
I know.
Once
I
you're,
was going to bring that up. I know you have your viewpoint on fasting, which I also thought was fascinating. But
yeah, once someone's done fasting, watch what happens after. Once they're done fasting, the body will lay fat back on because it's waiting for the next time you starve yourself. So we don't use any caloric deficits, and especially as a woman, it is so dishonoring to your hormones. Your hormones rely on you getting to sleep on time. They rely on you getting food on time and rely on you getting enough fuel so you don't put yourself in survival mode. Diets and fasting put the body in survival mode.
dang.
So we put women in thrival mode, which is why we have lasting results. So that's why I'm not a fan of it, is because it doesn't work. And I mean, even people watching this, I can already tell you, someone will go, yeah, I have women that come on the call with me and they go, Dr. Golman, I love fasting. And they go, that's great. How's it working for you? Oh, it works so good. Good. Tell me the results. Well, I do it for 2 weeks and I lose 7 pounds. And they go, then what happens? Then it comes back. And then I keep doing it again. And they go, so you really love doing the thing over and over again that's not really working long term? Great. Keep doing that. But
Like, good luck.
I think we have different definitions of working.
Yeah.
If you got to keep doing it because the weight comes back on, is it really working? So anyway.
So if someone started working with you, do you start with just blood work to see where their hormones are at? Or do you start more of like their psychology and their mindset and what they're doing in their daily life? Like talk to me a little bit about how someone would start to, shift into this journey of optimizing hormones and obviously their weight too. So many women want the weight, but I applaud you for starting with the hormones and doing it in a way that's optimized for thriving.
This is the path we go. We've done tons of hormone tests. We don't do it anymore because we already know what we do works. We don't need them.
Okay, cool.
Testosterone. I have women who testosterone point 200 points too high. I have some that in the bank, just in the tank with nothing. Cortisol's too high. Cortisol, it doesn't matter. When you do the right things, your system comes back to equilibrium. And remember, your body is already striving for health. You don't have to figure out how to make things higher and lower. When you do the right things, it already knows how to go higher and lower hormones. That's it. That's been the truth. That's the truth. It's still the truth. And at 40, your body does not forget how to make hormones. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
I'm sure you get that a lot. My body just doesn't work anymore.
Well, I only hear that from women who took that advice from men. Women naturally coming up with that. That's from the medical system.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be weird if God made a body that circulated 60,000 miles of arteries and veins?
Isn't that insane?
And wouldn't it be weird would it be weird if God made a body that took food and it turned it into your cells and tissues? And would it be weird if God made a body that produces more chemicals and pharmaceuticals than all the chemical companies in the world combined? Wouldn't it be weird that all that just somehow stopped at 40? Wouldn't it be weird if it just programmed at 40 to stop? Does that make any sense at all?
No. When you put it that way, it sure doesn't.
It's ridiculous. It's really, when you look at it that way, it's like, this is just no. Right. So what we do, so just saying that, where we start is this is step one, we turn on someone's fat furnace. So we actually do 2 days with our supplement. We have a proprietary supplement that's all plant-based. There's no chemicals, there's no drugs, there's no pharmaceuticals. Awesome. But there's all plants. And what it does, it switches your brain away from sugar and goes on to fat. And so that's step one is we turn on your fat furnace. Step two is we halt sugar dopamine cycles.
Okay.
This is where I don't deal with any emotions until the very end. We don't even have to, because once you shift your hormones, the weight comes sliding off. It's easy. But
that's incredible.
Getting people off sugar is the same way as saying people get to feel their emotions for the first time, because most people are seeking alcohol and sugar to stop feeling the thing they don't want to feel.
Yeah, coping, sure.
Exactly. So yeah, we shift that sugar. And what we do is we take for 40 days. That's why it's called the fast 40. We take sugar and all the simple carbohydrates, meaning breads, cereal, rice, pasta. We take it all out for 40 days, and we let the body go through detox. And some people will have cocaine-like withdrawal symptoms.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I don't doubt it, because I had I'm not going to get into the story, but I mentioned to you briefly in our last interview, like I had autoimmune disease. I got recommended to do keto and then low glycemic. And so I had to go through my own,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know,
you go through that. That's
yeah.
which would be the benefits of some of those things with keto, you know. So, but we have people eating lean meats, vegetables, and fruits. Every freaking
Okay.
meal eat fruits. Every freaking meal eat fruits.
Yeah, like fruits, they're natural. And I've learned
Yeah.
over time too that, you know, they were
They're also
created for a reason. So
they're also anti-cancer and have some of the most anti-cancer elements that you can find in fruits.
damn.
And these are what, you know, they're telling you not to eat in some of these diets. So we go through that, you know, that step one, return your fat furnace. Step two, we shift dopamine, sugar control. At the third step, we actually reset our patients' metabolisms. And most women, because of the diets, I really want to make sure people hear that. It's because of the diets you're doing, your metabolism is screwed up. It's because of fasting, your metabolism is screwed up. You're training your body to get used to not having metabolism. It doesn't make it better. And it's violating it. And so those are kind of the three initial steps that we walk someone through. And eating amounts and eating times, your circadian, people think that circadian rhythm is just based on sunlight. It's not. It's based on food and sunlight. So skipping your meal in the morning,
I never thought about it.
yeah, you're like, and
Cool.
remember when it says circadian rhythm, that is your hormone function in balance with Mother Earth. I'm not sure there's anything more important than
that. I'm sold. It's so good. But it's so cool because, you know, joking aside, as we age, we do start to not stop caring, but there's almost like you said, like people are looking towards the fad diet. We're looking for the magic wand, right? And the reality is that the magic wand's within us. We start getting back, and I teach a lot of natural remedies too, but that's more along the breath work and the body work type of side of things. But it's amazing. People will come to me too and say they can't walk. I'll give a couple of like yoga kriyas and be like, hey, do this for 40 days, you know, and they come back and they're like, oh my God, like between the meditating and this, I have clarity again. And I say all that just to say that our bodies are wired to, like, I call it be in our radiance, like to be in our best selves, you know, to thrive, as you were saying. And I think that the work that you're doing is really incredible because it's going against the grain. And sometimes we just need people to do that. So
yeah, exactly. When I was 19, I was very, very sick. And I had flu shots every year. I did multiple times. You do the whole, I got a cold, a virus, and I take the thing, I do the pill. Yep. And by the time I was 19, I had so much, I was ill. And I finally went to the doctor one time and he said, take this pill. And I just went home and I was like, what happens if I don't take this pill? And I'll tell you what happened. I took 7 days, the same amount of time they told me to take the pills. It took 7 days for me to get better, and I got better without taking the pills. And then I thought,
hey,
yeah, but here's the difference. I didn't get sick for another several months. And that's when the light bulb went off. When you use external influences to influence your immune system does not get stronger. When you let yourself go through the thing, your immune system has a insanely higher rate of immunity when you go through it. So interesting to see that. And then I started realizing, wow, the less drugs I took, the healthier I became. That's interesting.
Incredible. No, that's really incredible. Well, you know, we're just a little bit over 30 minutes. So let's bring it back. If people are watching this or they will be watching it in the future and have interest in working with you or finding out more, let's go ahead and share a best way to stay in contact with you and how to find out more about Fast 40.
Well, thanks, Becca. Yeah, I feel like we feel like we opened up like 15 cans of worms.
I know. I'm like,
but so yeah, if anyone's interested in what I'm saying, you can go to fast40weightloss.com. I also have a YouTube channel, Fast 40 or Dr. Cody Health. And I put up tons of videos. You probably, if you guys enjoyed this one, you'll see a ton of great stuff. I love exposing what's really going on and telling you the truth about your hormones and truly how to get healthy. And so those are the best ways to contact me. And yeah, and of course, we'll probably do some more lives.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so. Because like you said, like we're just like scratching the surface of things. So.
Beautiful. Okay. So it's so good thanks for having me on there. Appreciate you.
Glad to interview you. Lots of great info.
Yeah, let's do it again.